And welcome back to the Shooters Roll, podcast made by fans for the fans, and that's us, and that's you too. Today we are going to discuss the FIBA World Cup All-Stars and whether or not those selected will transpire their play into good results for their teams this coming season. Now, I'm joined for this episode with T. How's it going?
I'm going well.
Good?
Going well, yeah. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not sure about your hat there, really.
Got to represent the Knicks, mate. Always representing. Now, as we all have known, Spain took out the title, world champs. Ricky Rubio gets the MVP nod for the tournament. Ricky, along with Bogdan Bogdanovic, as well as Evan Fournier, Marc Gasol, and Luis Scola, were named the FIBA All-Stars for the tournament. All played really well with each other. Now let's talk, leaving aside Scola, who's currently in the league in China. We'll focus in on the 4 NBA players for this episode. Tee it up.
We're speaking about Spain, so let's stay with Marc Gasol. So, in the FIFA tournament, he averaged 14.4 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 4.1 assists. But one thing that doesn't come up on the stat sheet is his leadership. Spain team is going through a makeover. So, and him being available after a championship year, where he could have easily just skipped the FIFA, he was committed to the national team.
Yep.
And that championship mentality and what he brought to the team pushed him over the line. So what it means this season, I feel that he's going to be an integral part of a championship team, but not the team he's on at the moment.
I think I agree with you there. I don't know if the Raps are going to keep him.
Yeah.
And he's certainly an enviable trade piece. But who and to where, time will tell. But he still does offer some very, very good service. He's a good ball handler for his position. He's a good playmaker for his position. Even though he's getting older, he still can impact the game.
Definitely.
And it's only been a few years removed since he won Defensive Player of the Year. So there's certainly enough there. And his stats throughout the FIBA World Cup certainly show that there's still plenty left in Marc Gasol to contribute.
Yeah, especially in the big games versus Australia. That was a game where I guess the Aussies could have won. That's another topic we can discuss in the future. But yeah, he stood up big. He scored when they needed a basket. He got the rebound when they needed it. The blocks, the defensive plays. He's pretty much all over the floor. Like he's older, but I think he saves his spots. He saves his performances for the spots where he's needed the most.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward for him to carry that mantle over to the season.
Now, going into the season, coming back, defending the crown with Toronto, how is he going to fare without Kawhi there? How is the team going to fare without Kawhi there? Is a big question.
Yep.
Is Gasol still going to be playing starter minutes? Is his body going to hold up? There's a lot of questions that Toronto poses after their championship run.
Yeah, I guess for me it depends what they want to do. Like if they want to keep him on the shelf, reserve him to make sure he's healthy, he's an asset.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do that. Like beginning of the season, they might try to see what they have as a team, and then they'll let the chips fly wherever the season is. But halfway in the year, if they're still a championship team, the team might feel that, or the ownership and coaching staff might feel that they should go back, like run it back one more time. and give it a shot. But if by halfway, if they're not a championship quality team, then I think they'll blow it up. Yeah.
It's what it's becoming common practice these days, isn't it? The blow up. Why waste time?
It's all or nothing.
Why waste time, right?
All or nothing. Yeah.
Now, on the Spain theme, Ricky Rubio, phenomenal tournament. Named MVP of the tournament. 16.4 points a game, 4.6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1.5 steals. And I think that's been the common trend for Ricky throughout his NBA career. And can you believe it's been 10 years now since he was drafted in the first round, pick 5 by the T-Wolves. It's been 10 years. He's 28. He is coming on the back half of his prime years. Signed a big deal to go to play for the Phoenix Suns and be their floor general there. He signed 3 years at $51 million. This is pretty much probably going to be his biggest contract, his last big contract, before he rides off. Maybe plays back in Europe or sees out his role as a backup point guard in the NBA. Now, he's going into a team, and we touched base on this in a previous episode here at the Shooter's Roll, where he is going to be significantly older than his teammates. He is going to be leading a team where he will be the on-court coach for this team. How he gels with this team is going to be, for me, the key factor here. I mean, the stats will speak for themselves. I think he will get similar stats to what he's previously gotten in his career. Last year, he averaged 12 points a game, 3.5 rebounds and 6 assists. Throughout his career, it's similar to that. The key will be how he is going to fit in well with their alpha, Devin Booker.
Definitely.
How he can keep Devin happy. How he can take away some of the playmaking responsibilities and let Booker play the way that he should be playing, which is the primary scorer, putting up 60 points a game. He won't get 60 points a game, but he's shown flashes that he can get over 60 points a game, and also feeding in the big man in the middle, Ayton in the middle, and I think Ayton will have a great year and improve upon his rookie year this year with Rubio there now, an established playmaker who will make the job easier for Ayton coming into his sophomore year. We spoke about in previous episodes about this sophomore slump. I don't think Ayton's going to have that, given that he's not fighting others for minutes. He will be the primary big man on the team. It just will depend, I think, in my view, about how Ricky will gel with his teammates. And I think for me, that's if his play from FIBA will translate into good play for the Phoenix Suns, it's got to start from his ability to work cohesively with his teammates.
Yeah, being the MVP, when I watched him, like, it reminded me of when he first busted on the scene.
Yeah.
As a 15-year-old playing in Spain. He just played free and free-spirited. He didn't have all these drama of the NBA, having to pass to certain players.
Yeah.
I think the way he's played in this tournament, he's reminding him of who he was before he became an NBA player. And then going to a new situation where it's brand new. Definitely, I think that the pressure, I don't think there's much pressure because the Suns haven't shown anything like in the last couple of years. So there will be slightly pressure because he's signing for massive dollars, but no one's talking about them as a playoff team. So I think he has opportunity to surprise them, surprise, I guess, ourselves, and surprise a lot of people who watch the game and enthusiasts. So if he can translate to that free playing and not having a care in the world, not having to deal with egos, I definitely think that he can take the MVP season he had with the FIFA World Cup and then translate it into a somewhat successful season with the Suns.
I think the free-flowing play will be there. He's certainly got a shooter to pass the ball to in Booker. There's some good pieces there with Kelly Oubre Jr. as well. It will be a tough task. I think where it's going to be difficult is when the losses start piling up. And losses are never easy to take, especially for vets. Vets don't want to feel like they're wasting their time either. And I think it's going to be certainly something for Ricky. It's inevitable that this year it'll be a tough season in terms of the win-loss column for the Phoenix Suns, but hopefully more of an improvement than last season.
Definitely. Let's move on to our next player. So, Serbia was one of the teams that were favoured to win the gold medal.
I backed them. Go Jokic.
I did it. So, yeah, there was a standout player in the All-Star 5, Bogdanovic. He averaged 22.9 points, 4.4 assists, and 4.1 rebounds. He was the closest thing to an unguardable player in this league, or this competition. Just looking up stats every night and results. All I saw was literally everything he touched, everything he shot went in. Like it's crazy. Like I haven't seen anyone outside of the US players that had this kind of run in the tournament. So
he's certainly a baller.
He's a baller, yeah. Because we touched on an early episode when you covered the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
So he's a six man. He's the main playmaker, and yeah, like it will be exciting to see him suit up in sack uniform and have this kind of form coming into the season. So if he can reproduce that in a sack uniform, man, they're like you're basically the side of things you wanted to see out of Sacramento.
That's right.
Would definitely come true. Not like the Knicks one, but yeah, definitely for Sacramento.
Look, I think with Sacramento though, there was always some reservation with Bogdanovic and Hield playing the same position. That was the reservation that was going into the start of last season. But what transpired out of last season was that Hield found his footing as the shooter, as the floor spacer. When you compare the pair and you realise what they bring to the team, you look at Hield as being a scorer. He's a pure shooting guard. Bogdanovic, though, designated with the SG tag or the SF tag or the wing tag, whatever you might want to call it, he is a very good playmaker. Statistics on his assists last year, he was averaging 3.8 assists last year to go along with his 14 points a game. That just shows that he is an unselfish player looking to pass and make the second unit better. How Luke Walton will gear and manage minutes of his players this year will be interesting. Whether or not Hield and Bogdanovic can, one, coexist, and two, be fruitful in what they bring to the team and not getting in each other's way will be key. I think De'Aaron Fox will control a lot of that in handling the ball and his duties as the point guard. But look, I like the fit for Bogdanovic this year. I think he'll play better this year as well. Pretty much Sacramento have kept their core young players that they want to move on into the future with together. They've got that core nucleus of Fox, Hield, Bogdanovic, and Bagley, and I think that they're going to do well. And look, that FIBA World Cup, it's certainly one where you're showing early form. You're already primed to start the season. You're not starting from pre-season games. You're already there because you're playing against arguably the world's best in a world championship setting.
Except for the US team.
Except for the US
team. The All-Stars didn't turn up.
Except for that. Now, the last player we want to touch upon in this episode who made the FIBA All-Star team is Evan Fournier, long-standing shooting guard for the French team and long-standing shooting guard for the Orlando Magic. Similar to a few teams that we've spoken about on this podcast, the Magic have kept their core nucleus. I think management have seen that this is a team that they can move forward with, and they've invested heavy dollars to build this team. Last year, they finished with a winning record, 42 wins, 40 losses, finished on top of the Southeast Division for the first time since 2009-2010 season, and clinched a playoff spot for the first time since 2011-2012 season. So they went on an absolute tear from late January, going on a 22-win, 9-loss stretch, the third best in the NBA for that point in the season, and to make the playoffs. Ultimately, though, they fell to the eventual champs, Toronto Raptors. But inspired play has led on to big contracts this offseason for Nikola Vucevic, as well as for Terrence Ross. Big money for Vuce, 4 years at $100 million. Big money also for Terrence Ross at 4 years at $54 million. Glue guy here, Fournier, his World Cup stats, very respectable numbers, 19.8 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game over the 8 games he did play. Solid. All I can say is solid. Will that translate? Will that carry forward into this Magic season? I think so. I think the Magic can build upon their playoff berth last year. I really think that they see an opening where they can knock on the top 4 placing this year in the East. I know it's going to be difficult. I mean, let's count them off. Raps is still going to be around.
Yep.
The Bucks is still going to be around.
76ers
is still going to be around, and the Celtics is still going to be around.
Definitely.
So there are, but all those teams, apart from, you might say, the Bucks and Sixers, those teams are flawed in themselves. There's some issues with the teams, and then the rest of the East is wide open. There's plenty there to play for the Magic to get back to the playoffs. And I think the goal for them this year, though, is not just make the playoffs and exit in the first round, but actually be considered a threat.
What? Threat for the championship?
No, threat in the East. I think if I think it's going to be a greater process at the time. You know, they've invested big dollars and long contracts on key personnel. They've just took out the team option for Markel Fultz. We haven't even seen him play that much either, but they're banking on this team as a long-term project, and they've pretty much doubled down and said, this is our team heading into not only next season, but the following seasons as well. I see this as a medium-term project that they got going on, and you know, if they make second round next year, that'll be a positive, and to build upon that, where eventually, by the time all these young players are coming into their prime, they will be knocking on the door for that Eastern Conference Championships, and then who knows after that. But Fournier, I definitely think he is on their team the one solid shooter that they do have. Terrence Ross is a spark, but he's that spark off the bench and doesn't carry or space the floor as well as Fournier. And Fournier's been there a long time. He knows the system. So I wouldn't say Fournier is going to set the league on fire next season, but I would say that he will do his job like his other teammates on the Magic. And who knows, they could be knocking on and proceeding further on in the East next season.
Yeah. Hopefully, the coach will feature him more in the offense. That's one thing that I haven't seen with the Magic.
Yeah,
featuring him, but hopefully with what he's earned in FIFA, we'll show that. I just want to discuss one more player. Our own Paddy Mills.
Yeah.
I think he was robbed. He should have been there, but instead of Evan Fournier, but we can discuss and argue that point. But yeah, just choose this as a bonus topic. I think that he pretty much carried the Boomers. Like scoring wise, he needed to shoot every time.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we didn't have the scoring that much scoring, but whenever he touched the ball, it was pretty much lights out. Like he's going up, and as an Australians or as Australian fans, Boomers fans, when he shoots, we're happy he goes up, and we live and die with every shot in the tournament. I think that his play will carry over to the Spurs season because he was on a team that beat the US, and that's his coach on the other side. So his coach kept tabs on him all tournament, and I think when they get back to training camp, Paddy's going to feature more on the offense. Definitely, if they use him the same way the Boomers use him, he definitely can be like an All-Star or a borderline All-Star in the stacked East team.
Yeah, he was snubbed, wasn't he?
Yes.
For not making the FIBA All-Star team.
Yeah.
But sticks and stones. But this season, it's certainly going to be an exciting one, and we will, give you further updates as the season transpires and some of our predictions that we've made on this episode as well as previous episodes as well. We do hope you are enjoying the content and enjoying our podcasts. Please do follow us on our social media pages on Facebook and on Instagram, and also follow us on our podcast on Spotify as well as watch us on YouTube. Louis Scholar, we know you're going to do great for the Shanghai Sharks. I just got to drop your name in again because you are worthy of dropping a name. You are a FIBA World Cup All-Star.
Yes.
Until next time, this is The Shooter's Roll, a podcast made by fans for the fans.